started to get some more questions about different crystals to use, different crystals that will help and assist with the ascension process, crystals that I've been using or things that have been helping and assisting me. Now, I did a lot of research back when I started to do my awakening, and when that was starting to take place, a lot of people, when they awaken at the beginning stages, they awaken on the level of mind. So they just get spun out, and I did get spun out a lot too. So you do a lot of this research. You're on the internet. You're out and about. You're talking to people. So you're just basically trying to align everything to see what works for you. Now, what I was finding that. The crystals were more amplifiers. They were amplifications of my energy because I'm the type of guy that just really wants to get to the end goal. I don't like this slow moving process. I want to. It's almost like a horse that's running. I want to get to the finish line. I do believe even within my process from my past lives and so on. I've probably done this before. I do have a sense and a feeling that I would never come into an incarnation, especially if it's locked or it's controlled or if it's in a loop. That I would never come in to the actual box or the cube if I didn't know how to get out of it. So basically this ascension process too is also not something that you need to gain information. You have to start to remember, and so it's almost like you're giving yourself little breadcrumbs, and you start to gravitate towards certain things. So I definitely recommend everybody to tune into themselves, tune into their own frequency, tune into what works for you, because there are certain things that may help and assist you, and there's certain things that may start to gravitate and pull you off course. So especially with crystals, crystals can be dangerous. Crystals are amplifiers, and you have to be able to clear crystals as well. A lot of people are holding on to quartz and different crystals that are holding entities, or they're holding negative energy. So you basically want to be able to clear your crystals, even when there's full moons and so on. You want to recharge them. Crystals are alive. So when you're using a crystal, there's a reason for it. A lot of times when I'm going into a metaphysical store or so on, I can actually feel the pull to a crystal. Give you an example. I had a very weird, well, everything within my experience is weird, but I was sitting down just before I was going to do a very high level meditation and so on, and I was at my friend's house, and we're sitting there, and I got pulled over to a table, and I said, I got to go over there for a second. So I stood up, and then I saw this crystal was actually speaking to me. So I picked it up and I felt it, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm working with this one today. So I sat down, I started my meditation, and I usually get it out of the body and more into these higher aspects and so on. So I'm in this higher space. I can feel my body's, because it gets really cold and so on, and I can feel that I'm really out there. So a lot of times my body will start to trigger me back because it gets into this scare mode, this scared state. So with this crystal, it was really interesting because I was holding it in my left hand, and I could feel it actually started to vibrate and heat up. So I can feel that there was something going on. I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. I can actually feel that this is a tangible effect that I'm getting from this crystal. So as I started to get into those higher realms, it was giving me the calmness that I needed to go past those areas that I'd never gone before, and so it was just an incremental thing, because I even in my third eye I could see a doorway, or I could see another chamber room that I needed to get into, and I could feel this crystal said, and in my head I heard, I'm not going there, and it actually I could feel the crystal turn off. It stopped vibrating. It's actually the heat started to slow down, started to get a little bit more cooler, and then I said, okay, I'll go to that space. So I went to that space, and I started to integrate something else that I needed to see. There was a different aspect that I needed to release. So there was a healing process that took place. And then when I was done, I could feel my energy starting to come back, and then the crystal turned back on. I could feel it. It was vibrating. It started to heat up, and it actually gave me a wow factor. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool that this crystal was able to interact with me. Now, I'm not saying that every crystal is going to do this. I just, for some reason, had gravitated to that one. There's other crystals out there that I use. One is a Zestulite. That's a great crystal to get you into those higher states. Now, my recommendation usually is that the lighter crystals will actually, like a quartz and so on, or a form of a quartz, which is the Zestulite, will elevate your frequency. So if you're wearing this as a pendant, be very careful because it can pull you out of your body. I've had some experiences with clients where I've recommended certain crystals like selenite and apophyllite and so on, and they've placed them on their body, and they went for a walk out in nature, and they had this euphoric type of experience that actually started to scare them because they've never felt like that before. So yeah, that's why I give words of caution, is that you want to incrementally start to use these almost like taking a supplement, right? Because they are amplifiers, they are alive, and they will propel you or push you into areas that you may not want to go, because a lot of this process, I even say to people that even Moldavite usually calls to the person or calls you because you're ready. It's almost like your guides are trying to say, like, you're not listening to me. I need to push you a little bit, like push you off the cliff. So can you please interact with Moldavite for me? And then once you interact with that energy, that's going to be an amplification which will release certain things within your experience or push you or propel you, almost like taking the rug out from underneath you and saying, look, go over here, please, because this is no longer serving you. So you can actually, there's a lot of stuff on the internet. A great site is Heaven and Earth. There's a gentleman on there that talks about his Moldavite experience and so on. Moldavite, to me, is a very aggressive crystal that will propel you and push you spiritually. So if you're not ready for that, I wouldn't recommend starting off with that. You may want to start off with a rose quartz or something that is more passive or more. But when you're in a metaphysical store, you may want to just tune in. Place your hands over top of the crystals. Which one is for me? What do I need to see today? And then that crystal will start to come forward to you. Now, also when you're playing with crystals, you can get different attachments that are attached to the crystals. One crystal that I like to release a lot of this lower frequency and so on is shungite. Shungite's a very good crystal. You can buy a lot of this stuff on the internet, so you can get the rods. Shungite will actually pull a lot of these lower frequencies out of your field. It does work with a lot of EMF frequencies, so it releases a lot of that EMF stuff out of your system. It actually clears water too, so if you do some research on it, this is comes from a Russian lake bed, so you can actually clean and clear a lot of water with it too. I use it to release a lot of the lower archonic energies. I do have crystal pyramids. If you're having a lot of interference with spirits and these lower frequencies, you may want to get the pyramids, place those on the four corners of your bed. Crystals are very good at protection or different aspects or areas of growth. So there's a crystal Bible out there I think you can buy on Amazon. You can also do a lot of research within the specific crystals. The selenite, as I suggested, which is an amplification of the higher frequencies. So every crystal will correspond. You can even get crystals that correspond with different chakras. So depending on where you're working or where you're releasing certain things, crystals can amplify and release that. As I suggested before, the shungite or the darker crystals, even a magnetite, can actually be more of an attraction. So pulling, and so you can actually do more of the law of attraction type of exercises and so on. Even with the law of attraction, when I'm helping and assisting people with their soul plan, or they're doing some soul coaching and so on, a lot of people I find that they're manifesting in default. They're not really understanding or understanding the process that when you're asking, you're always going to receive. So a lot of them are asking for things that they don't want, and they don't realize that you have to start to think from the end. You have to see yourself in that place. You have to see yourself with that new relationship. You have to see yourself in the abundance. You have to see yourself in that new job. And a lot of people are saying, well, I don't want, I don't, and it's like, it's all these don'ts. Or even when you're looking at debt, the universe doesn't know what is right, wrong, good, or bad. It just knows what is. So when you ask for something, you have to just be able to see it, and you have to talk or command, make a command or a statement that you are that, or I am successful, or I am abundance. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm living my perfect life, or my perfect dream, and so on. So when you're giving these affirmations or these commands to the universe, it's always going to give you exactly what you're looking for, because you are the creator. You are the creator energy, and this slave energy, which is where we're at right now, and the master connection. The master energy is in constant contact 24/7, and it is trying to connect with the slave energy, which is this body, mind, meat suit. We're in the densest energy, and it's trying to reconnect, and that's what the awakening is. It's reconnecting to that master energy, that master being of who you are. So these are just tools. These are training aids. You don't have to be, a lot of people will hold on to crystals to a certain point, but you have to let them go as well. And I can tell you this, I've had some experiences where I've actually lost crystals, and I can swear to God they were there the minute before, and it's almost like they time jump, or they dimensional jump, or they need to be somewhere else. So just be very careful with crystals, because they can be very fun to play with. You don't want to be wearing a lot of these lighter crystals when you're going to bed, because you will be waking up. You won't be able to get a good night's sleep. So if you have any questions and concerns about some crystals, shoot me an email. There's a lot of stuff on my website about that as well. And take a look at the bottom of my page.